The Four of Wands. Now I see someone out here partying. I see someone out here having a good time. Four is all about angels, ancestors. It's all about protection. It's all about knowing that you're loved and you're guided. I mean, they're just having a good ass time underneath this sky. That sky is really beautiful. Looks like a festival. Fire is action. So with our fire signs, we got our Leo, we got our Sagittarius, we got our Aries, we got our fire signs. They like to have fun. They definitely like to have fun. I hear, don't feel bad for living. Do not feel bad for living. Enjoy life while you can. Not even that, enjoy life because God wants you to enjoy life. And know that while you're doing so, you are loved, you are guided, you are protected. Now, let me elaborate. There is some fucked up ass shit going on in this world. There's some crazy things that are going on in this world. However, some of us are fortunate enough to be able to still enjoy our lives with all of this craziness going on. Don't feel bad for enjoying your life, but at the same time, use the joy that you carry from enjoying your life to be of service to others. Not even that, enjoying your life is the reward of being in service. That is the reward of action. God wants you to be happy. He wants you to be happy, but have you done your part? A lot of people seem to think that because God is the bigger of the two or the more powerful of the two, he should just give because we want. But wanting is not enough, Scorpio. There actually has to be real action. You actually have to feel moved to do something. I also hear celebrate. Celebrate God. Celebrate his word. Celebrate the things that he have brought you through, and not even celebrate the things that he's brought you through. Celebrate them and tell others. Tell everyone you know what God has done for you. We're in a time where, like I said, you need to speak up. You need to show yourself. Don't be so dark. Don't be so mysterious. Let me explain something to you, Scorpio. You're special, okay? You're very special because you're a natural intuitive. Scorpio rules the planet of Saturn. Saturn is a natural psychologist. Saturn is somebody who naturally understands the human brain, naturally understands how humans move, naturally understands. So the shit that other people they're dying to know, the shit that other people like want to be able to pick up on, you can do just effortlessly. You can use that same energy to protect people. You can use that same energy to be an example, to help people. How can you be of service? Scorpio, how? How? Come out of the dark shadows. Come out of the hermit phase. How can you be of service? What are you doing? Even this right here, me being on a laptop, spreading this word, making everyone aware of God, making sure that everyone is making everyone else aware of God. That's me doing my part. And it's this simple. And it takes me probably like 30 minutes to an hour to do this. Like, how can you be of service, Scorpio? I really feel like not only are you selling yourself short, you're selling the universe short. You're selling people who need you short. Show up. 40. It's my favorite. Metatron. 6th chakra. Archangel Metatron. Okay, so Scorpio. The 6th chakra. That's right here. It's our beloved third eye. The third eye, indigo, so call me Ashley Indigo, can be used to see. Can be used to see more than the eyes can see. Now, this is a very interesting turn of events for me, because I follow spiritual groups on Facebook, and last night we were talking, and someone had said some things about God, this, that, and the third, and she said, well, how do you know? How do you know he's... And I said the same way I know the wind is real. Like, I just know. And she was like, well, if you see the wind, then you can see, trees being blown and blah, blah. And I said, well, what do you see if there's nothing to see? Life is not 5 sensory. People are. Life is multi-sensory. There is so much shit going on around here, around me, that you don't even know because you cannot see. until you can see. If you know, you know. If you don't, you better get in tune, Scorpio, because you were made to see. You were made to see what others can't see. You were made to feel what others can't feel. Now, if that doesn't sound like success, I don't know what does. But who do you work for? Have you chose your team? Whose side are you on? Because there's only two teams in this life, God and Satan. There is no in between. There is no gray line. There is no like, I kind of like, but I can't, like, there's no 50-50, boo. Choose up. You get one or the other one. 40 has to do with the four angels, protection, love, guided, ancestors, your past. It's like you have grandparents that passed, parents that passed. Those are your angels. Those are the ones that protect you. They love you. You're guided. And they'll be there for you in those changes. I feel like even some of you have already seen some things. Visions, sleep, not sleep, middle of the day. Don't want to tell anyone. Don't know what to think. People might think you're crazy. Now, every vision that is shared with us is not meant to be discussed. I myself personally have been asked to use discernment. It's not about knowing stuff that other people doesn't know. It's not about having some weird ass dynamic like you're the one who can see and they can't. That's not what it's about. God chooses people who choose him. When you choose him and through action and through service, you've proved that you've chosen him, he chooses you back. Many will be called, few will be chosen. Many will be called. That's true. True. But you got to understand, we live in a world that works against him. So they've already got all this shit covered. They've already got people like myself that people think are crazy. I'm one of the most sane people fucking out here. So I don't care what anyone else has to say about me because it's in the proof in the way that I live my life. But if you don't choose God, he's not going to choose you. It doesn't work like that. And how does he know that you chose him? You're making public allegiance. You're not afraid to tell people. You're not afraid to talk about him. You're not afraid to wait for him to make moves in your life instead of a man or a woman or a family member. You do it yourself because you are capable. He made you capable. But you can only believe that if you believe it. If you don't, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. 0 has to do with the emphasis. You have the extra protection. Your sight is going to open up, Scorpio. I can sit here and tell you not to be afraid. But if you grew up in like a religious family or you grew up in like a religious surrounding, naturally you're going to be afraid because you were brainwashed to be afraid. You have to understand everything that's happening in this world was already written. It's already written. The war is already won. However, we are not exempt from life. We are not exempt from what is happening. The only way that we are exempt is if our body dies and our soul passes. But even then, you're still not exempt. Because if you didn't learn your lessons, your ass might have to come back and run it again in a different body. Mercury's in retrograde right now, and this is the time to be learning from your past mistakes. If things are happening today, in this point in time, that are very similar to things that have happened in the past, that's your test. You have a choice. God has given you sight to see. But if you choose not to see, don't blame him. That has nothing to do with him. Because at the end of the day, we have free will. That's why it says many will be called, few will be chosen. Because some people are going to be too afraid to choose him back. Some people are going to think it's the devil's work and whatever. Hell no. That's not it. That's not it. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Learn how to use the eyes that you don't see with to see. That's it, Scorpio. Learn to trust what you feel. Learn to trust what you see. And learn that everything doesn't have proof. Some things just are. Like God himself. I would be a fool to sit and try to explain to somebody why God is real. He needs no explanation. He is. And sometimes depending on your relationship with God, depending on your link with God, depending on, you know, what you accept to be true with him and what you accept to not be true with him, he might show you things. He shows me things all the time that I see in my mind's eye. You know, I have no really control over that because I don't know anything about that. This is new to me. But some of those things that I see, I keep to myself because I'm not going to let anybody else kill my connection with God by telling me what's true and what's not true when they don't even fucking know. So that's really more so what it's about, you know, understanding who understands, pretty much. How do you understand who understands? Don't listen to what people say. Don't listen to what you see with your two eyes. Life is multisensory. We are being upgraded. Some of us are being shifted to multisensory beings. With multisensory beings comes heightened sense of feel in the regular five senses, but then in the sixth sense and up. Sixth chakra, that's the sixth sense. So there's going to be some upgrades. There's going to be some updates, but do not be afraid. God is not a God of fear. He's a God of clarity. He knows what he's doing, but do you trust him? I know you probably don't trust barely anyone, Scorpio. But if there's one person you can trust, if there's one being, if there's one father you can trust, it is God. 31. Door to value. Now, to me, this card ties into this card. I'm going to explain why. Because this person is doing what they are passionate about. They're living the life of their dreams, being of service to others. And it feels good. They know that they have everything because they've done what they needed to do. They've listened. They've held themselves accountable. In order to hold yourself accountable in this world, you need to first give a shit about yourself. You need to value yourself. It's not about the money. Never it's about the money. But it's about the way we feel about ourselves. If people knew the money that we have and our relationship with money and how easily we can get a hold of money has to do with the relationship that we have with ourselves. If we do not value ourselves, we cannot value other people. If we do not value ourselves and we do not value other people, we will struggle financially. There will be financial struggles because what's the best way to put this? There will be financial struggle because you're not being true to yourselves. When you're true to yourself and you're in alignment with who God made you to be, and you're in alignment with God, when there's action, mentally, spiritually, and physically, when everything combines, when you're lined up and you see the true value and how everything is connected, money is not an issue. So I'm feeling like there's some people who can't see value in themselves right now. Can't see value in themselves right now. And like I said, that might have something to do with a partner, might have to do with old childhood wounds. For whatever reason, you're not seeing value in you and it's fucking up the money. It's fucking up the money. Or you're not seeing value in you and you were making money, making good money, but you don't care about the money. The money doesn't seem to be enough. The money doesn't seem to make you feel fulfilled. So what are you going to do, Scorpio? I'm going to let you know right now, there's nothing externally that you could do to make that shift. There's nothing on the outside of you that you could do to make that make sense. It has to start in here. You have to do the work in here. The numbers at the top of the card, let me see. I can't even see them. Oh, you can't see them. 31. 3. That's that action I was talking about. Mind, body, and soul. Making sure that what you think lines up with what you say, lines up with what you do. Now, here's my example that I always give, and I'm going to keep giving this example till people fucking get it. 3-year-old. That is your higher self. That is your highest self. That is your true self. That is who you really are. When you were 3, that's who you really are. Because that is who you were designed to be. When you're 3, say someone stinks. Someone next to you stinks. You're going to think, like, man, that person stinks. Because you're 3, you're going to actually fucking tell them they stink. You're going to be like, look, you stink. Not even look like you stink. What stinks? Something stinks. You're going to let it be known. Then after you let it be known, you're probably going to plug your nose, go away. Your action is going to line up with not only what you thought, but what you said. And that person's going to get it. They fucking stink. And you stayed true to that, regardless of what anybody fucking thought. That is why 3-year-olds are the greatest. That's why 3-year-olds are the truest. Get like them. Now, if you had a shitty childhood and you can't find any value in yourself and you can't find any value in your situation, you need to pray. Pray. God is always there. He never switches up. He never switches teams. He's always there. Even when you're crying over some dude or some woman that fucked you up, even when you're upset because you lost your job, God is always there. He sees all. He knows all. But just because he knows all doesn't mean he should tell you. Because if he told you, then you would be waiting for what he told you and not relying on him. You might start to use him. And he can't be used. You can't use him because there's consequences for trying to do shit like that. He's not going to be used. He can use you in a positive way. He can help you, show others his works. He can help you be an example of what it means to live his way. But you cannot use him. You cannot pick and choose, when to pick him up and when to put him down. I myself, in a very important reading, was low-key accused of being, only coming to him when I needed him, as far as like when my life was apart, and not doing as much praising in the happy parts. And like, they were honest, like they were real about it. And when it came down to it, I was like, you know what? They're 100% right. Like, I do understand, like, I need to do better. Like, he's always there for me. So how dare I only come to him with questions when my shit's in crumbles? But then I don't show up as much in the good times. And I was guilty of that. And I did what I needed to do. One, we think what we create. We think what we create. Whatever you create with your thoughts, you manifest physically. So if you don't feel like you are enough, if your thoughts, words, and actions say, I am not enough, well, then you're not going to have enough. Because here's the thing, when you know God, you know who you are. Can't nobody tell you shit. You know who you are. So when you know who you are, you're walking in your power. When you're walking in your power, you know that you're provided for. You know that it's already been taken care of. And that's the difference between not knowing who you are and knowing who you are. That's why it's like, okay, come up out the shadows, Scorpio. Come up out the dark. Let us see you. Because you're acting like you don't know who you come from. You're acting like you don't know who you are. You're acting like you don't know what you're capable of. And it's sad. So come on out. Show up. 3 and 1 is 4. Again, it's that angel protection. Angels are protecting you. They are near. They want you to win. They want you to succeed. You might have some friends that don't want you to win. You might have some friends that don't want you to succeed. But the thing about God is he wants to see you win. So while you're out here choosing some of these, these lonely souls to kick it with, you know what I mean? While you're trying to live in that moment of darkness, while you're trying to stew all this up, you need to learn to find the positivity in it, Scorpio, the silver lining. Everything is a lesson. So what is this teaching you? What are you learning by everything that's been happening in your reality lately? What are you learning about yourself? What are you learning about God? Are you talking to God? Like, let's start asking the appropriate questions, because I know you got it in you, Scorpio, but let's be real, okay? 21, strategy. Now, I got this card with the thinking woman, strategy. So, the very first vibe I get is escape plan. Scorpio, I feel like some of y'all might have a relationship with someone that you're wanting to get out of. And you almost feel like you have to have a backup plan. Now, I'm not gonna say don't have a backup plan, because that's foolish. And it's actually smart that you're coming up with some kind of a plan, that you're thinking, that you're not just, being irrational. However, trust God in that plan. Put God first in that plan. Tell God what you need and expect it. You don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to do all the work yourself, Scorpio. It's okay to get help. It's okay to ask for help. There are people who willingly want to help you. And I apologize that you've dealt with so many people who don't. I apologize that you've dealt with so many people who have wanted to see you in your darkness, but then they don't come around when you're in your stage of light. I apologize. I really do apologize, because I think that you needed to hear that. But trust God. Trust, Scorpio, I feel like for you is very hard, especially since you pick up on situations and people, and if you don't like some shit, you just don't like it. But one thing that you need to learn, and because I feel it in my heart and it's feeling heavy, is forgiveness. Learn how to forgive. When we don't forgive others, we don't hurt them. They don't give a shit. We hurt ourselves. We hurt our own heart chakra. We hurt our own energy. We hurt our own inner child. We hurt our own higher self. Just because other people forgot about you, just because other people forgot your 3, don't you dare forget. It's one thing for someone else to forget about you. It's one thing for someone else to forget about the inner child in you. It's another thing for you to forget. That's hard. Forgetting that there's a part of you that exists. Not existed, still exists inside of you. So what are you going to do to align with it? There's inner child healing. Like I said, there's all types of programs, workshops. I have a couple videos just kind of explaining what it is. What are you going to do? Now, the thinking woman and with the strategy card, I also feel like there's some people that are starting to think more because of all the shit that's coming out in the world. You know, the things that are happening in the dark. And Scorpio, because the dark seemingly sometimes is where you're comfortable, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, someone who always starts over, someone who goes through dark phases. You know, you've been through the dark so many times, so you don't give a damn, you know. I feel like people are starting to think, people are starting to question. Some shit's starting not to sound right. And Scorpios, you can be a human lie detector, so you know when someone's full of shit. You know when some things aren't right. I'll be the first to tell you that, yeah, you're onto something. You're definitely onto something. Keep studying. When I see strategy too, I don't know why, but it reminds me of studying. Like, keep studying. Keep studying up the material. The Matrix, that's been everything for me. I've been reading a lot lately, lots of spiritual books, just spending time with God. You know, right now is the time to study. Right now is the time to prepare for a war, a very spiritual war on the mind, on the body. It's time to prepare. So we might see some Scorpios studying already, thinking about studying, questioning some things, seeing things different, seeing things differently than how it normally shows up. 4, angel protection again. Angel protection 47. 7, rewards. Now, the way that I translate that is, know that you are protected, know that you are loved, know that your pain will not be in vain, and know that there is more. There is treasures waiting. And when I say treasures, I don't mean like money. I don't mean those types of treasures, because honestly, treasure is different per the person. But I mean, when you do the work, you receive rewards. When you take the advice, you receive the rewards. When you trust that your angels and that your ancestors are there to, cheering on from you, for you from heaven, and there to support you as we live out some pretty tough ass days here on earth. You're never alone. And there's a little butterfly right here that cements it. So if you're seeing like butterflies, just know that you're not alone in that sense. 4 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, right? Okay, 7 and 4, that's 11. 11 is we think what we create. Now, in your study, Scorpio, because I know how damn deep you can get, some of these things might start to get heavy. Heavy on the heart, heavy on the soul. When it starts to get heavy on the heart, when it starts to get heavy on the soul, take a break. Put the damn phone down, put the book down, stay the fuck off social media, take a break. Let me tell you why. Like I said, I'm a Scorpio moon. So I feel Scorpio intensified through my emotions. That's how I operate emotionally as a Scorpio would. All emotion, all water. And a couple weeks back, I felt like I was going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, learning all this stuff. It got to a point to where it was all I could talk about. It got to a point where, I mean, I just felt so heavy and I just felt so damn dark. And then I just heard something say, like, take a break. You know, cut yourself off. I know that you're trying to spread good. I know that you're trying to spread light. But social media can use you in a way of, it can load you up with so much heavy shit depending on what you look at. And I just had to step away. I just had to take a break. Be careful what you think, because you create as you think. And I'm going to leave that there. The 21 on this card, 2 is about balance. Balance as far as the spiritual world and you know, earthly, you know, making sure not reading too much into the spiritual realm, not anticipating too much going on in the spiritual realm, not even waiting for too much, but just having vision, having just trust in God and in what's about to unfold. You know what I mean? Like we live here on earth, but we're not of it. So you have to find that balance of living here on earth, enjoying the creations that our creator made, but then also turning around and spending time with him. And spending time with him, that's like spending, you know, it's all the same. Spending time with God, spending time with your higher self. You know, when we spend time with our higher self, we're healing ourselves. And when we come back to the healing and the truth of who we really are, you know without a shadow of a doubt that God is there and he is real and he is calling his people. And if you don't want to be left behind, Scorpio, answer the call. 1 on this card again is just a reminder. We think what we create. 2 and 1 is 3. Make sure that your actions are lining up, Scorpio. Hold yourself accountable. Stop hiding. Show us who you are. Okay. One more card here from the Jesus deck. Crazy, because you actually got 8 cards, Scorpio. And 8 is all about not just success. 8 is also you reap what you sow. So, lots of people are going through shitty things in this life or through this retrograde, shitty situations. You might want to think back on the way that you treated people in a past life, because nobody is exempt. And I don't mean a past life like a past life. I mean a past life like in your earlier years, depending on how, you know, maybe you were just a really bratty ass fucking kid in elementary school. Maybe you were just a bitchy ass teenager. Okay. Message from Jesus, Scorpio. You can't read it, but there is Jesus' parents holding him. And it says, you are the light of the world. Matthew 5:14. You have a purpose. God put you here for a purpose. And I just don't feel, Scorpio, that you're stepping into your power. I don't think so much as it's that you're afraid as it is you're trying to protect yourself. But when you have God in your life, there's nothing really to protect yourself from. You just have to know what's true and what's not. And with you having natural feelers, with you being able to feel things, like I said, at a multi-sensory level, Scorpio, you can do that. Just like I said earlier, you're not doing anybody any favors by protecting yourself so hard that people can't see you. Do yourself and do God the honor of letting yourselves be seen. Okay? Now, I love everyone. I hope everyone has a super soul day Sunday and stay super blessed. There is some information on the bottom how to get in contact with me if you would like to book a personal reading. I hope that everyone has a beautiful day. Bye.